Ontario, Canada, was rocked in late December 2025 by a massive blizzard that many meteorologists are already calling one of the most severe storms seen in decades. The system started as a Colorado low, moving rapidly northeast across the Great Lakes. But as it traveled, it intensified, developing into a blizzard with characteristics dangerously close to what experts call a weather bomb. It brought a chaotic mix of heavy snow, hail, damaging winds, and torrential rain that swept across a massive territory, stretching from Toronto all the way to Thunder Bay, and from Ottawa over to Sault Ste. Marie. Daily life for millions of residents came to a sudden halt. Early on, Environment and Climate Change Canada issued emergency warnings, emphasizing the high risk to public safety. They forecasted snowfall totals between 8 and 20 inches, that's 20 to 50 centimeters, specifically targeting northern and northeastern Ontario. Winds gusting between 50 and 60 miles per hour created whiteout conditions with near-zero visibility. In the eastern areas, especially around Ottawa, the storm took a different turn. Hail and freezing rain coated the roads, trees, and power lines in a thick layer of ice, increasing the danger for motorists and threatening to snap infrastructure. These brutal conditions forced the complete closure of several major highways. Highway 17 from White River to Sault Ste. Marie was shut down. Highway 101 from Wawa and Highway 129 from Devon to Thessalon were also deemed impassable due to the accumulating snow and poor visibility. The result was that many communities were left completely isolated, waiting for the storm to break. While vehicles trapped in the north were stuck waiting for help, the situation down in southern Ontario, specifically around Toronto and its suburbs, was deteriorating fast. The storm unleashed a brutal combination of hail, heavy snow, and strong winds that instantly gridlocked traffic, toppled trees, and wreaked havoc on the power grid. Hydro One reported that more than 62,000 customers lost electricity after ice and wind brought down the lines, leaving thousands of households without heat in the middle of a deep freeze. Technicians were out there working around the clock, battling the elements to get the lights back on. But the damage wasn't limited to the infrastructure. The storm triggered a wave of dangerous traffic accidents. Between December 28th and 29th, the Ontario Provincial Police reported dozens of crashes scattered across various highways. The most serious incident took place on Highway 400 in Vaughan. A major pileup involving at least 7 vehicles sparked a fire and forced authorities to shut down the main lanes for hours right in the middle of the holiday rush. Police and emergency crews worked tirelessly to evacuate the victims and control the blaze, all while facing extremely dangerous weather conditions. In several other areas, the whiteouts caused drivers to lose control, leading to single and multi-car accidents. We saw reports of vehicles skidding into ditches, large trucks overturning, and cars colliding at snow-covered intersections. The hail made the roads exceptionally slippery, prompting local authorities to issue urgent warnings for residents to postpone any non-essential travel. The Toronto Transit Commission even stepped in, urging people to leave their private cars at home and use public transportation, while crews scrambled to apply anti-icing agents to the subway rails. This wasn't just a disruption to ground transportation, it upended daily life. Schools and offices were closed, flights at Toronto Pearson Airport faced massive delays and cancellations, and emergency services were overwhelmed by a surge in calls. In some smaller towns, residents had no choice but to shelter in place, cut off by impassable roads and blackouts. Local governments, along with Environment and Climate Change Canada, were issuing official warnings well before the worst of it hit. They weren't just worried about the snow. They were flagging the risk of flooding in southern areas because of the heavy rains that were riding along with this system. But if you are wondering how this storm got so big, the answer lies in a complex setup over North America. Meteorologists tell us that the storm originated as a Colorado low, a low-pressure system that typically forms over the Rocky Mountains and tracks northeast. As that system reached the Great Lakes, it ran into a perfect storm of ingredients. You had freezing Arctic air clashing with moist, warm air pumping up from the Gulf of Mexico. On top of that, the storm was supercharged by a pattern known as a jet stream dip. Basically, the jet stream, that fast-moving river of air high in the atmosphere, shifted way south, dragging cold air down into eastern Canada. When a dip like that meets a strong low-pressure system, storms don't just happen. They explode. That explains why this late 2025 storm didn't just bury Ontario. It spread its grip all the way into Quebec and New Brunswick, Overall, this snowstorm was a major event that really exposed just how vulnerable our infrastructure and public safety networks are when extreme weather strikes. Between the heavy snow, the hail, the high winds, and the chaotic accidents, this storm left a mark that is going to take some time to recover from. Experts are calling this a stark example of the increasingly extreme atmospheric dynamics we are seeing. It serves as a loud wake-up call for communities and governments to get serious about preparing for future weather disasters. Now, a lot of people are comparing this to the legendary ice storm of 1998. But while both events were devastating, they were different beasts. The '98 storm was famous for that thick sheet of ice that crippled the power grid for weeks. This 2025 storm was defined by heavier snow in the north and a punishing mix of hail in the east. But despite their differences, both storms taught us the exact same lesson. Our infrastructure has a breaking point, and nature knows exactly how to find it. Policy experts are already looking at this mess and saying the same thing. We need to invest serious money into making our power system storm-proof. They're talking about road repairs with built-in anti-icing technology and boosting our public transportation capacity so we can actually handle emergencies like this. But beyond the politics and the budgets, this storm hit communities hard on a human level. Thousands of families were left sitting in the dark without heat. Schools were shut down, businesses took a hit, and health services faced a nightmare scenario as patients struggled just to get to the hospitals. In the smaller communities, though, we saw real solidarity. Residents stepped up to provide food, shelter, and support to the most vulnerable among them. In Toronto, community centers threw their doors open as emergency shelters for people who lost power, proving just how vital those social networks are when disaster strikes. When it comes to the roads, the numbers are ugly. Preliminary data shows that more than 100 traffic incidents happened in just 2 days. We're talking about dozens of vehicles severely damaged, people injured, and several hospitalized. That massive pileup on Highway 400 really became the symbol of just how dangerous it was out there. Police emphasized a frustrating reality. Most of these accidents happened because drivers kept traveling despite the warnings. It raises some tough questions about how we communicate risk, and whether people are actually listening when we tell them to stay home. From a policy perspective, this storm has sparked a huge debate about our government's readiness for extreme weather. People are calling for Ontario to strengthen its early warning systems, improve how different agencies talk to one another, and pour more investment into infrastructure that can take a beating. Environmentalists are pointing to this as proof that extreme events are becoming more frequent due to climate change, and they are pushing for policies that prioritize adaptation. This storm has basically served as a catalyst, forcing the government to take a hard look at the province's entire climate resilience strategy. Meanwhile, just north of Toronto, the city of Barrie experienced a major blizzard in late December 2025. Meteorologists are already describing it as one of the most severe storms to hit Simcoe County in recent memory. A weather system that started as a low-pressure center moving up from the central United States made its way toward the Great Lakes, and then it just exploded. It developed into a high-intensity blizzard, unleashing a brutal combination of heavy snow, sleet, and powerful winds that swept right across Barrie and the surrounding areas. It didn't just disrupt daily life, it brought it to a complete standstill. Environment Canada issued an emergency warning early on, stressing that there was a high risk to public safety. The forecast was aggressive. They were calling for snowfall to top 12 inches, that's over 30 centimeters, in less than 24 hours. On top of that, wind gusts were hitting speeds of 50 miles per hour. That combination created whiteout conditions that reduced visibility to near zero. Motorists couldn't see more than a few feet ahead of their hoods. In some areas, hail coated the roads, trees, and power lines in a thick layer of ice, which just increased the danger and caused significant damage to the infrastructure. These conditions led to the closure of several major roads in and around Barrie, including Highway 400, which is the vital lifeline connecting Toronto to northern Ontario. Several sections were reportedly shut down completely because the snow was piling up too fast and nobody could see a thing. Many motorists were left stranded on the highway, just waiting for emergency assistance to reach them. In downtown Barrie, traffic was paralyzed. Snow-covered roads and slick intersections sent vehicles skidding uncontrollably. In several other areas around the city, we saw a rash of single and multi-vehicle accidents. The whiteout conditions caused drivers to completely lose control. We had reports of vehicles sliding into ditches, large trucks overturning, and cars colliding at snow-covered intersections. The slippery road conditions caused by the hail only made the situation worse. Local authorities had to issue urgent warnings, telling residents to postpone any non-essential travel. Emergency services were simply overwhelmed by the surge in calls for help. The snowstorm didn't just impact ground transportation, it completely disrupted daily life in the Barrie community. Schools and offices were shut down. Flights at Toronto Pearson Airport, which serves the Barrie area, saw massive delays and cancellations. Emergency services at Barrie hospitals faced major challenges because patients simply couldn't reach the facilities. In several smaller communities around Barrie, residents had to shelter in place. The roads were impassable, and Hydro One reported thousands of customers without power after ice and wind took down the cables. But Barrie wasn't the only target. Timmins, a mining town located in northeastern Ontario, experienced a major blizzard in late December 2025. Many meteorologists are calling it one of the most severe storms to hit that region in recent years. The weather system formed from a low-pressure center moving from the central U.S. toward the Great Lakes, developing into a high-intensity blizzard. It brought a punishing combination of heavy snow, hail, and strong winds that swept right through Timmins and the surrounding areas, significantly impacting daily life. Environment and Climate Change Canada issued emergency warnings early, stressing the high risk to public safety. They forecasted snowfall to reach more than 16 inches, over 40 centimeters, in less than 24 hours. Meanwhile, wind gusts hit speeds of up to 55 miles per hour, or 90 kilometers per hour. This created whiteout conditions that reduced visibility to near zero, leaving motorists unable to see more than a few meters in front of them. In some areas, hail coated the roads, trees, and power lines with a thick layer of ice, increasing the danger and causing infrastructure damage. These conditions led to the closure of several major roads in and around Timmins, including Highway 101, which is the vital route connecting the city to the rest of northeastern Ontario. Reports began coming in that several stretches of roadway were completely shut down as heavy snow piled up and visibility dropped to near zero. Dozens of drivers were left stranded in their vehicles, waiting hours for emergency crews to reach them. What started as a winter storm quickly turned into a widespread transportation nightmare across northeastern Ontario. In the heart of Timmins, traffic ground to a standstill. Downtown streets were buried under snow, and vehicles struggled to maintain control at major intersections. Cars slid through stop signs, buses stalled on icy inclines, and frustrated drivers were left with nowhere to go. The storm created dangerous conditions that overwhelmed the city's road network in a matter of hours. As conditions worsened, a surge of crashes followed. Ontario Provincial Police confirmed responding to dozens of incidents between December 28th and December 29th alone. The most severe crash occurred along Highway 101 near Timmins, where more than 8 vehicles were involved in a massive pileup. The collision included a large commercial truck and several passenger vehicles, causing significant damage and forcing the main lane to close for several hours during the busy holiday travel period. Emergency responders worked non-stop in brutal conditions to rescue those involved, secure the scene, and prevent further accidents. Freezing temperatures, blowing snow, and icy pavement made every step of the response more dangerous. Despite the challenges, crews managed to evacuate victims and restore limited access to the highway after hours of effort. Elsewhere in and around Timmins, additional single-vehicle and multi-car crashes were reported throughout the storm. Drivers lost control on whiteout roads, cars slid into roadside ditches, and several large trucks tipped over after hitting sheets of ice. At snow-covered intersections, even low speeds proved risky, leading to repeated collisions. Adding to the danger, freezing rain and hail created slick surfaces that made already poor conditions even worse. Local officials urged residents to avoid unnecessary travel, warning that road conditions could change rapidly and without warning. Emergency dispatch centers were flooded with calls as tow trucks, police, and medical responders struggled to keep up with demand. By December 29th, the impact of the storm extended far beyond the roads. Schools and government offices across the region were forced to close, and many businesses shut their doors entirely. Air travel was also disrupted, with flights at Timmins Victor M. Power Airport facing widespread delays and cancellations. Hospitals in the area encountered serious challenges as well. Patients had difficulty reaching medical facilities, and emergency departments operated under strained conditions. In smaller surrounding communities, the situation became even more severe. Impassable roads forced residents to shelter in place, while power outages left thousands without electricity. Hydro One reported that strong winds and falling trees brought down power lines, cutting service to large portions of the region. Crews worked around the clock to restore electricity, but dangerous weather slowed repairs and left many households in the dark. In the end, the December 2025 snowstorm across Ontario, including Timmins and surrounding areas, proved to be more than just a severe weather event. It became a real-world stress test for infrastructure, emergency services, and community preparedness. The storm highlighted how deeply extreme weather can disrupt daily life and served as a powerful reminder that preparation, cooperation, and resilient public systems are essential as climate-related challenges continue to grow. If you liked the analysis in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please share this video with your friends, family members, and relatives. And finally, if you found this report helpful, please hit the like button. This helps us beat the algorithm and ensures this truth reaches more people who need to hear it. Thank you for watching.